the Gaza war drags past the second year. The stakes in Sharm El-Sheikh could not be higher. U.S. President Donald Trump personally directed his envoys and urged them not to leave Egypt until a deal is in hand. Meanwhile, Israel's occupation army keeps bombing Gaza, even amid the negotiations. Hamas is demanding binding guarantees that Israel will not resume the war. Egypt, along Qatari and Turkish delegations, now forms the expanded mediation front. So will Trump's plan deliver release of detainees and a lasting ceasefire? Can Hamas and Israel bridge the technical gaps? Hamalawi, you're watching In Depth. As a positive atmosphere builds around the ongoing talks in Egypt, U.S. President Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff have joined the Gaza ceasefire negotiations, now in their third day in Sharm El-Sheikh. According to Egypt Today, Egypt has been hosting intensive discussions between Hamas and Israeli delegations since Monday, aimed at securing the release of all detainees held by Hamas and ending the war, which has lasted 2 years and claimed the lives of over 67,000 Palestinians. Both U.S. envoys are reportedly committed to remaining in Egypt until an agreement is reached. The negotiations follow Hamas's conditional approval of Trump's Gaza peace plan, though the group has emphasized that further talks are needed before a formal deal can be finalized. Meanwhile, the situation on the ground remains dire, with the director of the NGO reporting that death is everywhere in Gaza. According to Le Monde, Claire Magon, Director General of Doctors Without Borders, or the MSF, recently returned from a week-long stay in the Gaza Strip. The non-governmental organization operates several clinics in the territory, which has been under near-continuous bombing and siege by Israel for almost 2 years. Describing conditions in the Gaza city, Magon said that the area was already surrounded by tanks. She also said that the Israeli army was employing a strategy of suffocation, targeting tanker trucks, even clearly marked ones, including an MSF vehicle hit in mid-September, and blocking access to essential services. The atmosphere, she said, was one of constant terror. For further analysis, we're joined from Cairo by Mr. Ahmed Maharim, writer and political analyst, and also His Excellency Ambassador Mohammed Higazi, former Deputy Foreign Minister. Welcome to Qnews, and I will start with you, Mr. Maharim. Israel continues to carry out airstrikes on Gaza, even as negotiations proceed, with dozens of Palestinians killed. So how does that ongoing violence affect the viability of a ceasefire deal?
Well, I think Israel has different objectives and goals. And is definitely, for the last 2 years, it is supported on a green line from Mr. Trump and the American administration. Israel feels that it has the power, and that kind of negotiation, maybe there is a big hope that the ceasefire can be stopped. Unfortunately, it seems like it is going on Israel would like to put more pressure on Hamas and also more pressure for the people of negotiations. But I think, according to Trump, the message is sending through his representative to join Sharm El-Sheikh negotiation. I think within the next day or two, something at the end of the tunnel, I think there is a hope. Things can be very possible to say there is a good future to the negotiation.
Ambassador Higazi, the United States proposal demands Hamas give up control of Gaza and hand over governance to technocrats. How does Hamas view this?
Well, I think Hamas has already approved this, and they said that they will not govern Gaza. And this has been discussed also with Egypt, and they have agreed already to this point.
But do you think that there would be further, because it said that there would be further details, Your Excellency, so would the further details or further discussions evolve around this point of governance?
Well, I think the 20 points of President Trump roadmap requires further details. It's a framework agreement that requires executive summary, like we have to discuss every single point, including this of exchange of prisoners and the return of remains. It will all requires to arrange the field and to arrange withdrawals, even tactical withdrawals, to allow the elements of Hamas to go and fetch and bring out the remains, as well as the safe exchange of prisoners. You cannot do that without arranging the field, as it has been the case in previous exchanges.
Mr. Maharem, U.S. President Donald Trump met with Kushner and Witkoff and national security advisors before their Egypt departure. He stressed that he won't let them leave without a deal. What does that pressure say about U.S. posture now?
Well, President Trump have different efforts, but he is keeping his own eye for the possibility of that he can be recognition as a winner of the prize of peace in the world. I mean, Nobel Prize. There is so much pressure actually was done for the last few weeks by President Trump and his cabinet. Unfortunately, it shows that Israel has different objective and different opinion. And I think as far as there is more stress from President Trump and his team, possibly something can happen within the next few days, possibly to be good to the Palestinians.
Ambassador Higazi, when asked what security guarantees the United States was willing to offer, Trump pledged to do everything possible to make sure everybody adheres to the deal. How is the U.S. planning to guarantee Israel's compliance? I mean, Israel's here with the support, the unconditional support of the United States. How can the U.S. make Israel comply to the deal?
I think they have many tools. They will not find it difficult to pressure the Israelis. First of all, putting the name of the U.S. and President Trump on the roadmap or the plan is a very important advance. And I think Israel knows very well that they cannot say no to President Trump. And I guess that everybody is quite aware that this is the right moment. The internal public opinion also in Israel is showing pressure, as well as the regional and international parties. And American two envoys were sent with a clear message from President Trump that you do not return back without an agreement. So I think all the pressure given, and even from within the Israelis, there is a position to accept this time a ceasefire and a full plan that will cover all elements required, being a ceasefire, withdrawal, humanitarian assistance, exchange of prisoners, and as you proposed in your first question, the governor of Gaza.
Mr. Maharem, one major contention is the demand that Hamas disarm under the plan. How is this issue navigated in the talks from your own perspective?
Actually, this is a very difficult issue for Hamas to agree with that. That means that they are surrounding and that they announced at the end of the story, the end of the Palestinian effort to restore their land. I think with some more negotiation, something better can be on the deal. But Hamas definitely will never accept that they can misplace their army, because this is the only good factor that they can represent their future of having the rights to defend their country.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador Higazi, Qatar and Turkey are joining the talks, plus Netanyahu advisor Ron Dermer. How does widening mediation team affect leverage and trust?
It is very important. The presence of the regional players, being it Qatar, Turkey, and behind the scenes, many other regional powers, and definitely the high-level Israeli Counselor for National Security, a very known mediator who enjoyed the confidence of Prime Minister Netanyahu is very important. Those are very crucial issues that requires decision makers, and Steve Witkoff and Kushner from the American sides are the two chosen by President Trump. So I think this very important and high-level negotiators, besides the Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of Qatar, Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani, as well as the Turkish Chief of Intelligence, as well as a full Egyptian delegation of negotiators who knows very well how to handle situations so complicated like this, is very important. This will be a support to the parties to the negotiation, and will bring ideas and innovative approaches to all complicated issues that will be on the table.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Maharem, how is the issue of governing post-war Gaza being discussed in the talks?
That will be a big question. I think it can open the appetite of the negotiation that something can happen positively, but also there is a kind of fear from Hamas. But I think at the end of the story, Hamas will agree on that, because they're trying to make a compliance between what Hamas is trying to do to represent their people and their own people, and the pressure coming from Trump administration. Possibly something can happen on that regard, could be very soon successfully.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador Higazi, many analysts see that the reconstruction of Gaza and humanitarian aid, they see it as inseparable from the ceasefire. So to what extent do the plan's humanitarian provisions satisfy those basic rights?
Well, it is among the top priority for us and for, I'm sure, the Palestinian parties and the international partners to the negotiation. A ceasefire wouldn't really lead to anything unless you open up a huge influx of humanitarian assistance to people who are direly in need in Gaza.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Maharem, U.S. officials say that the recent negotiations have become technical and hinge on mapping gaps. So from your point of view, which of those gaps are now the hardest? Detainees, withdrawal, or governance?
Actually, all those points are big gaps, because when it comes to technicality, there's so many details. Hamas have the right to defend the right, and Israel also feel that they are occupying the land, and the Israeli negotiations, they feel that they have the upper hand to do what they were doing. But I think something happened in order to make those kind of gaps closely possible. There is a sooner solution will happen on the region.
Mm-hmm. Ambassador Higazi, now Hamas demands guarantees that Israel will never resume its military operations after withdrawal. So what forms of guarantee might realistically be acceptable by Hamas?
Well, I mean, if we reached an agreement, at least that will lead to the exchange of prisoners, the ceasefire, the agreed upon withdrawal, time and places, as well as the installation of the technocratic body of governors to Gaza, I think we are ready to discuss more issues, but I don't think at that moment it will be Hamas. It has to be the gathering of the Palestinian fractions, and don't forget that the legal and political framework in which the technical authority will work will be under the auspices of the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah, so that we have to enhance the presence of the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah when it comes to governance. Like Hamas will be involved only in issues related to the first phase, but for the future of the Palestinian issue, for the political issue, a collective gathering will happen in Cairo of all the branches and wings of the Palestinian struggle. Even today, you may have heard that the jihad movement and the popular movement has joined Hamas in the negotiation. So that it means that there is a collective willingness to reach a ceasefire that will encompass all, not only Hamas. After that, when it comes to governance, the PLO as a sole representative and the official representation of the Palestinian in Ramallah, the authorities, I mean, and President Mahmoud Abbas should have a clear role in the future and in the determination of what will happen next, particularly in the political level.
Yes. Mr. Mahrem, given that previous ceasefires broke down because of Israel, what confidence-building steps would be essential now to prevent the collapse?
I think different countries in the region, starting from Egypt and Qatar, and with the guarantee from the United States of America, such a kind of guarantee, I think, will stop Israel to do what happened before, because after 2 years, the global have watched a live stream, unexpected kind of war. So there is a possibility that can kind of a guarantee will stop Israel to do what they asked to do before to break the deal.
I'm asking this, sir, because we have seen in previous round of negotiations that despite President Donald Trump's involvement, yet Israel challenged that and bombed Qatar when the negotiators were there. So that's why I'm asking, why can't the U.S. pressure be even stronger on Israel at this very particular point?
I agree with you. It should be, or it can be possible, more pressure, because nowadays the American administration and Mr. Trump personally, they are not happy with the deal of Israel, with the reaction of Israel. And we have not to forget that Mr. President Trump still keep his own eye to win the prize of Nobel Prize. So possibly things can be different than before.
Okay. Ambassador Higazi, now considering the tremendous death toll and displacement, how can justice and accountability be integrated into a peace arrangement?
I think this is a very important question, and we have also to see how can we draw parallel and to link the roadmap or the plan of President Trump with the two-state solution document, which is a UN-sponsored in New York last couple of days. We have to keep an eye on this very important political document. As far as President Trump emergency plan, we are required to abide by it to reach a ceasefire and to install a temporary Palestinian technocratic committee related politically and legally with the authorities in Ramallah. But after that, I think it's better, for better guarantees, to link with the two-state solution document so that we pull in the UN legitimacy to the future of Palestine, even if we reached an agreement according to President Trump's roadmap, we have to draw it to the UN Security Council. Take, for example, when we talk about a military presence in Gaza, we need to put this military presence under the auspices of the UN. We cannot just accept the presence of foreign troops on Gaza or accept political leadership together while we have a political Palestinian leadership in Ramallah.
Mr. Maharim, if the deal fails, God forbids, but we're trying to take a look at the possible scenarios. What are the potential scenarios for escalation, and how might the U.S. react, given that Trump wants to end the war as soon as possible?
Well, any escalation at that moment is not in the benefit of the region or on the benefit or favor of the United States. So escalation have done previously so many times, and we can see how the reaction of so many leaders around the world. So escalation is something happen in the future. It cannot be happening anymore. So let us expect something can be better than that.
Okay. Ambassador Hijazi, in the event of non-compliance by Israel or failure of oversight mechanisms, what alternatives do Gazans and Palestinians have?
The meeting that will happen in Cairo to all the Palestinian fractions is in itself a tool to further enhance and confront the Israeli right-wing tendency or government. The unity is one of the most important tools that the Palestinian has, a regional consolidation and support, a firm position as it is from Egypt and Jordan against the compulsory or displacement. I think a revival of the two-state solution maneuvers or action taken in New York a couple of days ago with the two-state solution document, a return to the sanction regime that was imposed on South Africa, and this is an apartheid regime in Israel, so that we can definitely lead the direction of the event to where the UN and the international community and the two-state solution and the Palestinian Authority with Egypt plan of reconstruction Gaza also is on top, and move ahead with a different direction. If the American cannot protect their own plan and listen to the Israeli right-wing governments that has put the reputation of both Israel and the United States to the ruins, I think we have to pressure and to keep the line open with the two-state solution document, because this is an international community consensus, and this is a UN legitimate sponsored plan. If President Trump cannot protect his plan against the Israeli resilience and wicked intent, we have to move to the other chapter, which is very strong if we enhance it.
Indeed. Mr. Maharim, now with Egypt planning to host a reconstruction conference in Cairo to rally support for rebuilding Gaza, how do you expect the international community's role in helping with the reconstruction efforts?
Well, I think with the good repetition of the Egyptian diplomacy, this is not the first time. And at that time, exactly, I think I'm expecting and positive that so many countries and so many NGOs and responsible for that kind of conference will be on the right time to help Palestinians to restore their rights very soon.
Ambassador Hijazi, as a diplomat, how do you envision Gaza's future after the war stops, especially that this war devastated the Strip almost entirely?
Stabilizing Gaza, assuring Israeli withdrawal, entry of a massive influx of humanitarian assistance, and installing the governing body should open the door to the authority to govern both the West Bank and Gaza and East Jerusalem, and to call for the two-state solution and the recognition of the Palestinian state over its rightful land, assured by the very infamous ruling of the ICJ in July, the International Court of Justice in July, in which they have specified the West Bank, Gaza, and East Jerusalem at the border of the occupied Palestinian territory after 1967.
Mr. Maharem, over 67,000 Palestinians have been killed in the occupation army's assault. So with tens of thousands other wounded, and after 2 years of the devastating war, how does this scale of death and casualties affect Israel's international legitimacy? And what mechanisms exist to hold the invader force accountable?
Well, it is not the first time, but also there is so many kind of efforts was taking place in order to make Israel to stop what they are doing. Let us hope that with the recent negotiation happening in Qatar, in Sharm El-Sheikh, I guess the solidarity of the world with what's happening right now, it can lead us to reach a kind of conclusion to be beneficial to the Palestinian future.
Ambassador Hijazi, while Gaza is in ruins, updated reports suggest that the total cost of the Israeli economy has also reached hundreds of billions of shekels, leading to negative growth forecasts. In the face of this huge economic burden on Israel, does the occupation government still have the domestic support to pursue its long-term objectives without international intervention?
Well, the internal issue of Israel or the internal public opinion is an issue that requires maybe addressing, because the right wing and the settler mentality are prevailing. I don't think the Israeli public opinion now, except for the issue of exchange of prisoners, care more about the Palestinian. They have never been, and they will never be. It has to be enforced, the will of the international community. And if there is a beneficial element in the equation, the Israelis might join you. Otherwise, I don't think there is any peace drive in Israel, except of those who are related to prisoners. It is a very unusual status that requires people to pressure them and to show them that they have led their country to the ruins. And I'm sure that with the justice prevailing in the region, with the Palestinian states, with the end of the occupation, this society might return back to the days where peace tendencies exists. But with the prevailing of the settler mentality and the right-wing regime, we need to pressure them out of this dilemma, not by appeasing them. And I think the change in the European public opinion, except for some corners in Italy or in Germany, in spite of the fact that Germany has stopped the sales of the arms, or lethal arms, but still they need work, particularly the Chancellor, who were weeping for Auschwitz and young children killed in the Second World War, ignoring that children are killed on a daily basis in Gaza.
Mr. Maharem, what is the significance of Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff joining the Gaza ceasefire negotiations today?
I think the two names are representing high-level responsibility from the U.S. administration, and the interest of President Trump to make the chapter very clear. He's still keeping his own eye for the Nobel Prize. I think their attendee to that kind of conference in Sharm El-Sheikh will be very positive. Hopefully we can hear some good news.
Okay. Well, that was Mr. Ahmed Maharem, writer and political analyst, and also His Excellency Ambassador Mohammed Hijazi, former Deputy Foreign Minister. Thank you both for your valuable insights. And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's episode of In Depth. My name is Hala Al-Hamalawi. Thank you so much for being with us. Stay tuned. The top stories is coming up next.